Now let's turn our attention to the beautiful game, because the world's richest football clubs appear to be brushing off the current cost of living crisis. According to Deloitte, English Premier League dominates, claiming about 11 out of the top 20 places by wealth. The champions Manchester City retain their top spot, making €731 million in the last year. The return of fans to stadia post-COVID has meant a significant return to matchday revenues, but on-the-day sales still only make up about 15% of total revenues for a club as a whole. About 44% comes from broadcasting, 41% from commercial sources. Well, we're joined now by Zal Adwadia, the Assistant Director in Deloitte's Sports Business Group. Zal, this is really interesting, some of these numbers here, and it sort of begs the question, do you think it's possible, in your view, for other European leagues to really catch up with the Premier League clubs?
So, as you said, for the first time, we've got a majority of clubs in the Money League from the Premier League, so 11 out of 20. And the gap and the real challenge for the rest of the Big Five is whether they can begin to bridge that gap. And it's going to really take something special, something innovative that they need to do to try and begin to close that gap to the Premier League, because it's not inconceivable that in a few years, all 20 clubs could feature in the top 30.
Now, this sort of asymmetry in finances that you're talking about in this study, do you think it sort of undermines the sustainability of soccer as a sport?
I think the game's governing bodies, UEFA and the Premier League included, have taken a number of measures to ensure sustainability. So UEFA's financial fair play regulations has dramatically improved the sustainability of the game. And we know in England there are a number of reports and studies going on at the moment as to how sustainability can be increased. But the long-term sustainability of the game and good governance of football is really important for all the key stakeholders.
Now, one area of real growth in the last year, 2 years, is the development of the women's game. It is, however, important not to overplay these numbers. I think revenue for the clubs that are playing women's games is about 1% of the total revenue, so it's still very, very small. The numbers in your survey, they predate the UEFA European Women's Championship, and they don't include the US clubs, so that's an important caveat too. But are there opportunities that are emerging from the women's game that might level things a little?
Absolutely. As you say, the women's game is at such a nascent stage of its journey. It's hard to compare it to the men's. But with the exposure and the record levels of attendance and viewership we're seeing in the women's game at the moment, with the right levels of investment and good governance, we can really kickstart a virtuous cycle in the women's game. And it really is a growth opportunity for clubs in the years to come.
Zal, thank you very much for your time and your analysis. Zal Adwadia.